Hello everyone and welcome to The Good Old Gamer. So it's been a few weeks since I've done a video and yeah, lots been going on. And behind the scenes, I've been working on a ton of stuff. So this video right here, I want to talk about what we're going to be doing going into 2023, what we're going to be doing next week and the week after. And I want to go ahead and get your guys' feedback on a few new choices that I'm going to be making moving forward. So alrighty guys, let's go ahead and just jump right on in. So number one of the big things that came up over the past few weeks that got my noggin jogging was identifying the market, basically you guys. And I realized I wasn't addressing a large portion of the market because I identified that there's really four key different demographics in the PC hardware enthusiast community out there. And I've only really been targeting 1 to 2 of those. And I want to go over what those are with you guys here today, how I'm going to address that, and yeah, all the fun stuff that we got. And the easiest way to do that is to show you guys another project that I've been working on, which is my website, thegoodoldgamer.com, where I'm going to be going ahead and doing custom build PCs for those of you guys out there that don't want to do all of the tuning on your systems and would rather have me do it for you. So we're going to go ahead and jump on over there, and then we're going to go over these 4 categories, my recommendations on PC parts if you do want to do it yourself. I do have lists on there, and then the new test bench that I will be personally building to go ahead and address one of the biggest categories. All right, so if you guys do watch the Technomics podcast, I have brought up that I've been building my own website. This is it right here. Daz, Paul's Daz over from Not an Apple Fan, went ahead and did this for me. I didn't want anything super crazy. Obviously, we got, my videos and stuff on here. And then there's a few pictures of the custom builds that I've been doing. So like this one right here is one, I actually have it right over there. This is one that I've just been working on. And yeah, basically I've been doing these for my local market. And this was really spurred on, I think it was by Dr. Forbin or one of the guys over on Discord. He was asking, what pre-built should I buy? And I honestly couldn't come up with a real answer for him. So I started just doing it myself. And here in my local community, they've been doing very well. People have really, really liked them. So for example, I got this guy right here. This is actually up for sale. But yeah, so I wanted to make this easy as most of you guys are DIY guys. And once I recognized the 4 specific categories, I'm like, I should definitely be targeting these. And those 4 categories are the ultra budget, which you guys know that I pretty much fit into that. And then we have the best value. I also fit into that category. So these 2 categories I've pretty much taken care of. That's kind of the market that I've been going for. But the ultra performance market is a category that personally I'm not that interested in it from the perspective of like owning the stuff. I'm more interested from the academic perspective. But over the past 2 years, I could easily say I've seen this category grow. A lot of you guys out there are only interested in basically the fastest stuff that's out there. So I'm like, I need to start targeting that, and I will be basically building this exact system as my new test bench for the channel. So we'll go through all the parts here in a second, and I'll let you guys know why I chose the parts. And then the 4th category I kind of identified in this video right here when I was talking about, okay, and now understand who the 5800X3D is for. There's a large portion of people that want to do DIY, they want to build their own PCs, but they don't want to deal with the tuning. So this is another category that this channel just hasn't really targeted. Now, I see no real reason to pick up a 5800X3D for testing, as that's going to be completely outdated here soon. But I'm definitely going to be picking up a new Zen 4 X3D once those are announced or released, which we should know more here at CES. I'm hoping they do come out here pretty soon, as I'm really interested to see if the no tuning category actually becomes the ultra performance category as well, getting us back down to 3 categories. But personally, I think that these are pretty much the 3 categories most of you guys are going to fit in. You either want to get the absolute best performance per dollar, regardless, and then you want good performance. So like this is decent performance, but this is like near top of the line performance, but for considerably cheaper. Obviously GPU dependent, of course. These are just my recommendations for performance per dollar. And then a lot of you guys want the best. And then, like I said, simplest. So real quick, we're just going to go over a few of the parts, the key parts here on these. And then obviously the ultra performance one, like I said, I'm literally building that system for the channel so we can do some really cool testing. So yeah, over here we have the ultra budget 12100F. You just can't beat it. They're like 100, 110 bucks somewhere in there. It basically negates everything pre-Comet Lake and Zen 3. This is just going to be the superior option with a few exceptions. And then just any, 4 copper heat pipe 120 millimeter cooler will do. This one's usually like $20 over there on Amazon. It's got RGB, people like that, so I recommend that one. The B660M Steel Legend, I did a video on that the other day using the 13700K. And the main reason why I recommend this over cheaper B660 boards is I know that this will work with high-end Raptor Lake CPUs. Now, you can't overclock them. You can overclock the RAM, but you can't overclock the CPUs. But still, those run very fast out of the box. And I know this board can handle those. So for me, it's worth the little extra premium because I know that it'll do the job well. Now, compared to the ASRock B660M Pro RS, which is definitely the cheapest decent board out there. The main reason why I'd recommend spending the extra on the Steel Legend is because you get a 6-layer PCB with the ASRock, with the Steel Legend, versus the Pro RS, which is a 4-layer board. So that means if you do upgrade in the future, it doesn't mean much for the 12100, but if you do get a faster CPU, this means that you could push that RAM to higher speeds, which is also the reason why I recommend the Patriot Viper B die. These are actually on sale right now. Right now, they're coming in 9% less at $97. This is a lot more than just your standard cheapo RAM, but once again, this is going to work better for the 12100 because you can tune it in. You'll get anywhere from about 8 to 10 extra percent performance when CPU limited, which you might be on a 12100. And then if you do upgrade in the future, you could slap in another kit of these guys. And even with like a 13600K, 13700K, or 13900K, or non-K, whichever way you want to go, this is going to do really well with those CPUs. That's why I recommend these. You just can't get any better for the money with these B-die kits. As for GPU right now, the RX 6600 is just the way to go. Anywhere from $200, $230 regularly, brand new. Once again, I did a video on this. It's the good old game box. Essentially, all I did was just change out the case and a couple other bits, but it's effectively just the good old game box is what I recommend here. I recommend a 1 terabyte NVMe. The Rosewell Spectra D100 is a pretty good case. Jumping on over here to Amazon, it's only $50, comes with 4 RGB ring fans. So that's kind of a big deal for me when I'm doing pre-builts because that saves me a lot of money. It comes with enough fans to do the job. Considering we're using a tower cooler, you have your intake here and your exhaust straight out the back, and then naturally heat will come out the top. So for the money, this is a really good case. In terms of build quality, I'd say it's kind of a medium quality case. There's a little bit of flex to the steel, but it's not like super cheap like pot metal. It's in that kind of like medium category, and for $50, it's really difficult to beat considering it comes with the 4 included fans and the fan controller for it. And then for power supply, I just put a 550 watt on here to keep costs down. So that would be basically the budget recommendation, the ultra budget recommendation that I've been making for a while. Once again, I did a video on it. I'll put a link down below for that. And if you want to check out any of these parts, they will be in the video description, or you could always go to thegoodoldgamer.com. These links are always available and you can check these out. For the best value right now, this one was pretty tough for me. The i5 13600K or the 12600K. 12600K is about $50 to $60 cheaper regularly, but overall with those 4 extra E-cores, the 13600K is going to be much better for productivity. So I decided to go that route as it's an all-around better CPU, and if you look at it from a holistic perspective, it's worth that little bit of extra money. You get 10% higher clock speed, which does net about 10% overall performance-ish, but once again, it nets a lot more performance in productivity because of those extra E-cores. So I'm like, yeah, it is worth the extra money going up to the $300 versus like $240. So the extra $60 there, I think is justified. And it'll get you within a few percentage points of something like a 13900K most of the time. For this one, basically the cooler is dependent on the case. I love this case. I showed you guys up above, but for the money, there's no better case than this. But it only fits a 240 AIO, and you really need a 240 AIO to make this case work. So I just went with one of the ones that were on sale. The Vetru V240, that's a pretty solid one. You can't use the Rosewell one because it doesn't support LGA 1700. I forced one to work. I made one work, but trust me, you don't want to do that. You want to get one that supports LGA 1700, which the Vetru does, and I think it's like $10 cheaper too, or it was when I did it. Now, for the motherboard, I actually have one of these for testing, the Gigabyte Z690i Aorus Ultralight DDR4 boards. This is the absolute best DDR4 LGA 1700 board that there is for memory overclocking. So if you're looking to get the maximum amount of performance out of your system and stick with DDR4 and say, take advantage of those savings there, this is the way to go. At $170, that's a little bit higher than they normally been. Typically, these are around $140 to $150, but people are starting to catch on that these boards are good. The main reason why this is selling for so cheap is because this was limited to PCIe 3.0. It had some sort of bug or error or something. But Gigabyte fixed that with a BIOS update, so it now does support the full PCIe 5.0. So this is now identical to the $300 motherboards of the same name. So that's the reason why I think these are starting to sell out. People have figured that out, and this is the deal. Now, why is this better than most of the other boards? Well, because it is a 10-layer PCB, and it is the only LGA 1700 DDR4 board that I'm aware of that has more than 6 layers. So for DDR4, this is going to get you the maximum memory frequency overclocks on LGA 1700. So yeah, at $170, that's still not too bad. I think Newegg has them on sale for $140 still. You can go ahead and check those out here in the US. Also check out on like eBay and things like that as well. But I got mine for $150 a month or so ago. And yeah, these guys are starting to run out. So if you are looking to build a system like this, do not wait. Get the motherboard at least. Because the Z690s, especially the good ones like this, they're starting to sell out. So I have one of these personally for DDR4 testing, which we will be comparing directly to DDR5. So it's basically the best DDR4 board. And then I got the DDR5 version of this board for about this price tag, which it's not the best LGA 1700 DDR5 board, but it's the best for the money. So if you can get the DDR5 version of this still for around this price tag, absolutely do it, because you're just not going to get a deal like that. Again, these are selling out. People have figured it out. So I would pick these up as fast as possible. But as of right now, they're still in stock. I recommend going that route. For the RAM, I recommend going with the 32 gigabytes HP B-die kit. I did a video on that. Link will be down below. For the money, you just can't beat it. It's B-die. It will clock up to the same speeds, well, for the most part, as the Patriot Vipers. I will test it out on this new Gigabyte board, as I was able to get higher frequencies out of my i5 13600K using that motherboard. On the ASRock Z690 Steel Legend, I only got DDR4 4000. On the Gigabyte, I was able to get up to 4266. And then at voltages, I was more comfortable with 4133 for daily. And yeah, it's a nice bump up. It's an extra like 4 or 5 gigabytes per second in memory bandwidth. Latency is about the same. But yeah, so I want to test the HP B-die on this board as well. For 1080p, I recommend the 12 gig RX 6700 XT if you're buying new. If you're buying used, the 8 gigabyte RTX 3060 Ti, relatively similar performance, and used, they're about the same price. That's another option. But if you're going new, I would go this route. And then for 1440p, the 16 gigabyte RX 6800 XT, when those are $500 to $550, which they're starting to go up, but when they're on sale around that price point, which is what they were when I made this, that is definitely the deal. Now, those will be running out and will obviously be replaced by newer stuff, but you can always get them used for that $500 to $550 price point as well. Those are my 2 recommendations for those particular resolutions. If you want to go new, NVIDIA can compete better on the used market, but in terms of new, NVIDIA's really got nothing at either price point. Then for this build, I recommend a 2 terabyte because, well, you might as well. Games are getting huge, and on this one, it doesn't bring up the cost significantly, whereas on this one, it would. But yeah, just 2 terabyte NVMe will cut the mustard. Now, the case on this one, I want to take a look at, because this is the best case for the money that I have ever tested. So I showed you the build that I did in this particular case. Right now they're $54 over here on Amazon, and I really like this. So right here you cut your 3 intake fans at the bottom, so that shoots straight into your GPU. You have your 1 exhaust, and then you put your 2 40mm AIO over here. Now you could put a tower cooler in here and just put 2 fans in over here, I suppose, but it just doesn't work. This case really just needs the 240 AIO to make it, look right and function the way that it's intended. So I recommend doing that. It looks good, and the build quality on this case is amazing. This is like that thick, heavy-duty steel. There's like no flex. On a 50, I got mine for 50 and 60. A few weeks ago, they were 60, and then they were 50, and now they're in the middle. But anyways, between $50 and $60, I've never seen a case use the high-quality steel. This one does, and you get the RGB lights, and you get 4 RGB fans. And they don't even skimp out on the PCI brackets. They have real ones that are removable, not, the ones that you snap off and break. So there's literally nothing cheap about this case other than the price. So if you're going to go with a 240 AIO, this is definitely going to be my recommendation for a case. So performance per dollar, there's just nothing better. All right, so now on to the meat and potatoes, and this is what I'm going to be building for the channel. So I recommend, if you want the best, well, I mean, this is pretty simple on the core components, but there's some things that people don't recognize or realize. So anyways, Intel Core i9 13900K, as of right now, is the fastest gaming CPU there is. Just is what it is. If you want to buy one, please use the affiliate link down below in the video description or on the website. That does help out. Now, for this build, I'm not a big fan of custom loops. It's just a bridge too far for me. So this is like the one step away from that. And that's the Corsair iQ H170i Elite 420mm AIO. Now, these are on sale right now, $199. They're $30 off, so that's 50. They're saying 13% off. I guess it's 15% more or 13% off. Regardless, with the case that I recommend, you might as well go with the 420. 420s, the fans run slower, you get more airflow. It's just the better way to go. And yeah, I'm very interested. I got one of these on the way, and basically it'll let me push the CPUs as hard as I want. So yeah, I'm interested to mess with one of these myself. Now, in terms of motherboard, like I said, the Z690i Gigabyte Aorus DDR5 Elite would be the best way to go if you can get one for the money. However, if you can't, going with the MSI Z790i Gaming Edge Wi-Fi is the best way to go for the money. Now, Amazon has these priced up a little bit. These are normally about $360, so these are very expensive boards. But what's different about this board compared to the Gigabyte, this is a 12-layer PCB. And as far as I'm aware, the only other 12-layer is the new Z790 EVGA Classified and EVGA Dark, which are $500 and like $800 respectively. So at $360, even at $466, this is technically the cheapest 12-layer board for LGA 1700. Now, if you're not sure why the layers matter, I kind of alluded to it before, but it makes a bigger difference for DDR5 because you want to hit DDR5 7600 minimum, 7800 is pretty good, and 8000 is probably going to be the sweet spot for a while. And that's going to require special memory, but we'll talk about that. But the more PCB layers you have, the better the signaling is for the DDR5. So more layers equals more likely you can get to higher frequencies. So 12 layers is going to be probably the sweet spot for that. I think 10 layers is still going to be pretty good. 8 layers is basically bare minimum, and 6 layers are completely eliminated. And believe it or not, most LGA 1700 DDR5 boards are 6-layer. So you need to do some homework. This board right here is just the simple and easy way to go. You have the 2 DIMM slots, which also help with signaling. Now, if you don't want to go ITX, you can go with something like the EVGA Dark. This is on sale right now, 36% off, regularly $829. I believe the Z790s are super limited. One of my guys said he got one, and I believe that they're already gone. So next to that MSI board, this will probably be on par, I would imagine. This has 10 layers. It's not 12. But this thing's designed for memory overclocking, whereas the ITX board isn't. So I would imagine that these would probably perform very similar. This might have a slight edge, but it's also significantly more money. And if you want to go with a slightly different option. The Z690 EVGA classified would be the other way to go. This is also a 10-layer PCB. It does have 4 DIMM slots, so if for some reason you need 4 DIMM slots, this is really the only LGA 1700 board with 4 DIMM slots that I would recommend buying for DDR5. And even that's with an asterisk. I haven't tested this, so I don't know how good it is. Just the specs on paper, this should still perform pretty well. You should be able to get at least 7600 on your RAMs using this, but maybe it could do better. I'm not sure. It's one of those, it might be worth testing because it's even cheaper than the Z790i. I would just go with the ITX board because more layers, slightly more money, and in reality, ITX holds its value very well. So I would probably go that route. But that's kind of a personal preference thing there. But overall, for the money, I think the MSI Z790i is probably the best. And then this leads straight into RAM. You're going to need some Hynix A die. And right now, for the money, the 32 gigabyte G.Skill Trident Z Z5 DDR5 7200 kit seems to be the way to go. This is expensive RAM. This is $310. I actually have a kit of this on hand, and then Kingston is going to be sending me their 7200 kit that just came in. Now, the reason why I like this one a little bit more than the Kingston kit, we'll see if there's really any difference between them, but this one is CL34, the Kingston kit's CL38. On DDR5, that's not going to make that big of a difference. But the big difference is this is 1.4 volts and the Kingston is 1.45. And they're both 7200. Now, this kit might just be able to push higher at lower voltage, which may actually make it worth it. Maybe their Kingston's just being a little bit loose or just a little bit cautious with their stuff. Not sure. We'll test them out. But that's the main reason why I needed a high-end DDR5 board to test high-end DDR5 memory. So obviously this is pretty expensive. And yeah, that's why, like, when we're talking about this stuff, if you want the best, it costs a fortune. For the SSD, I recommend a top-tier PCIe 4.0 NVMe. Kingston sent me over the 2 terabyte Fury Renegade for a long time. That has done really, really well. Acer has actually just sent over their GM7000. They're saying that this is the fastest PCIe 4.0 NVMe that's out there. Let me know in the comment section if you guys want me to start doing NVMe direct comparisons. It's not something that I'm personally interested in, but I do want to test both of them and kind of give you my thoughts. Thus far, I am using this right now, and I really can't tell the difference between them. They're both super high quality DDR4 or PCIe Gen 4 NVMe's. They both have on-chip DRAM. They're both awesome, so they're basically top tier. So I would just check them both and get the cheaper one. They're both going on sale. This guy right here was only $210. That's actually pretty darn good for a top-performing Gen 4 NVMe. So yeah, you definitely want to check it out and get whichever one is on sale at the time. I'd say they're about tied, but maybe we'll do a test if you're interested. So next up, which I do have coming in, is the Thermaltake Core P3 Pro. So let's pull this guy up. Now, what I like about the Pro is you have the 420 millimeter slot here, or the Core P3, either one. I actually think I'm getting the regular Core P3 because I didn't need the EATX. This one right here is an EATX support. That's the main reason to go with this over the other one. And this one also supports 2 100 and or 420 millimeter radiators. So you can put one on the front or the top. This bracket can go up here or over there. I'm just going to use the one liquid cooler. So for me, I just need the one. So you can actually go save 20 or 30 bucks and go with the non-pro. But if you want the most compatibility and most flexibility, spend the extra 30 bucks, go with the pro. It's not going to change the cost of your build all that much. But anyways, you slap on your 420 AIO, you have your vertical mount GPU, you can run any GPU size, doesn't matter if it's 7 slots, it's not going to affect anything. Motherboard size, like I said on this one, if you want to go with the EVGAs, you can, it'll fit. And yeah, I just really like these type of cases. You get excellent airflow. They look really cool, and you can mount whatever you need to them. And they don't cost that much. I mean, 150 bucks isn't too bad. And then lastly, the power supply was a little bit difficult because PCIe 5.0 or AVX 3.0 power supplies, they're just stupid expensive. They're all like 300 plus. So I just put the RM1000 on there. That's enough to handle this system, no problem, especially when properly tuned. And you can go ahead and order a 12-volt GPU adapter with this one from Corsair. So that was the main reason why I went with that. Corsair is a known brand. They have good warranty, all that sort of stuff. So I would go this route right now, as you can save a little bit over $100. Just order the cable that you need and you'll be good to go. And then, of course, RTX 4090. So I effectively have this whole system coming in. I already have the 13900K. I already have a Z690i 10-layer board. It's not the best. We'll see how far we can go. I already bought the Trident Z5 DDR5 7200s. Those are behind me. I've already got the NVMe. Got one of these guys as well we'll be testing out. And then everything else is on its way right now. So I'm going to be testing this out. And the main reason why I want to do that is so I can make sure to properly test CPUs. We can properly test GPUs by having a high-end CPU with a high-end graphics card that allows me to test RAM properly. We can see the main difference between DDR4 max tuned versus DDR5 max tuned. And we can test out CPUs. So yeah, it's something that I personally don't have any interest in for like a gaming system. I know a lot of you guys do though, so I could give you guys the data, but I'm very interested in it from an academic perspective. So that's the main reason why I wanted to go ahead and do this for you. And I really do want to do those CPU and RAM testing. And really, I need all of this stuff to do that. In the future, I might need to go with the Zen 4 3D, which comes into the last category here, 5800X 3D, no tuning needed category. I'm not going to buy one of these. I'll just wait for Zen 4 3D. And then, like I said, we'll see if it supplants the 13900K as the overall best. And finally, to round out the high-end test system, we're going with the LG C2 42-inch OLED. Now, these are on sale as of recording for only $796. So this is much cheaper than they've normally been. When I bought my CX55, I spent $1,300 on that. And this is just way cheaper barrier of entry to getting into OLED. And in reality, this is actually right around, if not cheaper than a lot of high-end desktop monitors. So if you are interested in getting something like an ultimate performance PC with a 4090 and all that, make sure you have a top tier display, something like an OLED. There's really not much that can beat this for the money, but I understand desk space and all that sort of stuff varies per person. If you're looking to put it in a living room or something, the 55-inch B2 OLED, still 4K 120, VRR, FreeSync, G-Sync, all of that. That's $999, and then you can get the 65-inch. That's like $1,350 right now. So there's good deals on bigger sizes too if you want to go in the living room. But if you're going to use it on a desk, the 42-inch makes a lot of sense. But I needed this specifically for 4K testing. I could use VSR, virtual super resolution, that sort of stuff. But on Radeon hardware, it doesn't work in all games. And for Intel, because I will be testing an Intel Arc here as well coming up, I don't think it has that feature, or I didn't see it. So that's something I'll talk about with the Arc stuff coming up. So I was like, let me just get a 4K monitor, and instead of spending $250 on a 4K 60 junk monitor, or 500 plus on a 4K, 144 hertz junk monitor, I said, screw it, we'll just get something that I could use down here for a television and as a monitor. So it's got multi-functions for me personally, but at $800, I was like, it's kind of a no-brainer. So I'd recommend picking one of these up if you are in the market for a high-end monitor to pair with a high-end system. So wrapping this up, this is all on my website, on thegoodoldgamer.com, if you want to check any of this stuff out. The affiliate links do help out the channel. They're also in the video description down below on this particular video, but if you ever want to just check, hey, what does Chris suggest for this sort of price bracket, you can go ahead and at any time, I'll keep this updated and you can check them out. And like I said, anything that you buy does also help support. So thank you so much for that. Now, if you do want to order a custom PC, here's that Rosewell Prism case that I was showing you before. I've got a, what do I have in there? 12600K in this particular system with the 3060 Ti right now. Like I said, I got the Rosewell AIO in there. Don't do that. Don't do that. That was not a fun thing to do. I had somebody who was like, hey, can you upgrade the CPU? I was like, no. No, I have another case and another setup. Basically, I would just build another system before I touch this particular one. But anyways, if you want me to go ahead and build you a PC, you can go ahead and do that by clicking on the little button right here. Get your own optimized gaming PC. This just takes you to a form, just name, address, that sort of stuff. And then just, it's a questionnaire. So this way I know what parts make the most sense for you. What resolution are you gaming at? Target frame rates, types of games. Are you competitive? Do you stream? Do you want RGB and all that sort of stuff? And then you could type in anything that you want in these boxes down here. And then, yeah, that gives me an idea of what you need in terms of parts. Then we'll figure it out. And as long as it makes sense to you, boom, we're good to go. And I can do that for you. Well, alrighty guys, so obviously I've been very busy. I've been thinking about a lot of different things. I've been setting up the website. Paul's Daz over at Not an Apple Fan, he actually set up the site for me. I tweaked it up a little bit. I made the categories and all that sort of stuff. But I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to be promoting certain things, I need to actually test them, or at least something approximating that. So this way I can go ahead and give you guys real advice instead of just going, I think that this is good. Now, over the past few months, you guys know that I have been testing a lot of stuff, and this is partly the reason why. I wanted to be able to sit down with confidence and know exactly what makes sense at all the price points, so this way I can go ahead and help people get the right parts. Now I'm taking that one step further with the website, doing the custom PCs. So this way I'll actually get all the parts in. I will use my knowledge and all of my experience to properly tune them, not to like insane levels, but to the point where they basically maxes out the hardware at daily voltages and things like that. Everything's still going to be cool and quiet. I mean, my system right here is running on air on a 13900K and it's still running good. But regardless, that's a service that not too many people offer. I know Ivan over at Frame Chasers, he does his consults and stuff like that. But I personally would rather just build the whole thing and sell them. Like I said, I've had a lot of success with that here in my local community, but I'm now opening it up to the online community. And since I'm just one guy, I'm the only one doing it. I'm not outsourcing. I'm not having anybody else help or anything like that. There's only so many that I can do. So if I get a flood of people asking me to do custom build PCs for them, I might have to tell you, you might either have to wait or I might recommend trying back a little bit later. But I'll make sure to get back to everybody who goes ahead and fills out that form. It shoots me an email. I then know basically what you need. I do have a bunch of stuff on hand, which kind of helps out. So if a lot of people are looking for systems similar to what I already have, cool. You know, that's real easy. I can probably just swap in and out whatever's necessary to make it fit the budget and all that sort of stuff. So if you are interested in that, make sure you go ahead and check out thegoodoldgamer.com. Links are in all of my videos, so you can go, well, more recent videos anyway, since the website was created. So they're in the video descriptions. You can go ahead and check that out. If you want to build your own PC using my recommendations, you can go ahead and use the affiliate links in this video description, or they will always be on the website. So if you're ever curious, like, what does Chris recommend? I'll keep that updated when new stuff comes out, when I test new things, if my mind changes, I'll go ahead and keep that as up to date as possible. And then if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Tons of cool content. I got the ARC A770. I got a replacement coming in. If you're subscribed over on the Techonomics podcast, you know that the one that I got was defective. So another one's coming in. So I'm super interested to get that one out to you. Next week's video, I'm going to be doing just a fun one for the holidays. We're going to be taking a look at the RX 6600. Not a whole lot of fun, but I'm going to be comparing it to the R9 Fury, the GTX 970, and the GTX 780 Ti in modern games, because why not? I want to see how those old higher-end graphics cards hold up compared to the entry-level graphics card of today. So I think that'd be a lot of fun. So make sure that you subscribe. You don't want to miss that one. And of course, testing out super high-end stuff, super high-end DDR5. How far can we go? Does it make a difference next to DDR4? Pushed all the way to its limits. Like I said, I'll push that thing to 4266 on the DDR4. So that's about as good as that's going to get. So we'll see maxed versus hopefully maxed. I don't know if the Gigabyte board will hold up. If not, I'll pick up that MSI board that I just showed you guys. And yeah, we will push that thing to 7800 or 8000, whatever it will do. But yeah, so we'll see how that compares. Is it worth spending all that extra money, or does DDR4 still make sense? We will then know, even with something like an RTX 4090, I will have the answers for you. That's why I'm doing this. I want to have the answers. And yeah, it's costing a lot, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm gonna be redoing this whole setup. I'm actually gonna move the desks to over there and rearranged, and it's all gonna be cool, guys. So I wanna thank you all. If you are still here, I want to thank you for watching the video. This is obviously a long one. This is a big update. I'm obviously very excited for all this stuff. I'm excited for next week. And then the following week, we'll just be doing a live stream on New Year's Eve, a New Year's Eve live stream to finish up the year of 2022. But 2023 is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. So look forward to seeing you guys there. Hope you have a happy holiday, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.